Let's talk about the 13 pictures you never want to post of your kids online. I recently made a free guide on this. We're going to go over it. We're going to break it down. We're going to have a little chat about it. And then I found this video from like Dr. Phil about sharing, oversharing about your kids online. And we're going to watch that video together. We're going to talk about the video. It's going to be pretty cool. And I'm going to have a discussion on my thoughts, my opinions, my suggestions on what you should or should not post about your kids online. So without further ado, let's go. Welcome to the Protect Kids Online live stream. I'm CyberFareedah. I have a background in cybersecurity awareness, threat intelligence, online gaming, and other nerdy stuff. I've taken my gaming experiences and professional background to help parents like you protect their children online. I'm known as an award-winning Forbes 30 Under 30 internet safety expert, and I've been in some places on the internet and beyond that you may recognize. So, without further ado, let's talk. 3, 2, 1. Let me share my screen. This is something that I posted. If you did not get this guide for whatever reason, I have like this free internet safety library where I post all of these things on protecting your kids online. And one of the most downloaded parts of it was the 13 pictures you should never post of your kids. And I thought it would be really great to have this discussion. So if you do not already have your guide because you're not a part of the email community, then I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you can get your guide as we walk through this. So the first picture, I'm going to skip over here. The first picture you do not want to post of your kids online is any bath time or diaper photos. Unfortunately, like I said over there on screen, that it can be a really cute photo. You're just like, oh, this bath time is their first bath time, especially if it's like the first bath time one. And you're like, this is such a cute photo. I want to share with more people. I want more people to be in this moment with me. And then you don't realize that that picture can be downloaded and used for things that you don't want. Let me know if you can hear my fan that is going on right now, because if you can hear my fan, I'll like stop this thing. I don't think that you can, but put in the chat if you can hear the fan. Just put fan in the chat if you can hear it. And if you're in the replay, I'm so sorry. But anyways, you do not want to post those pictures of your kids because these pictures have been known to be widely searched on the internet and downloaded by pedophiles and predators who obviously do not care about your kid as much as someone who's innocent like I or anybody else who's looking at your child's photo. So don't post pictures like that. And in the same vein, which I know is kind of weird and creepy to think about, but you don't want to post any like swimwear photos of your kids. So say if it's like a day at the beach or something, if it's like a family photo and you feel like, okay, the whole family's there, but just be very, very careful about what you post. Many parents have found that if they went to the beach and they took like a video of their child and they had swimwear, like any regular parent would do, you're just at the beach and you're like, oh, this is a cute family photo. Those photos, those videos were downloaded more than any other photos and videos they posted on their page. And they have found their child's pictures in sites that are, let's just say, inappropriate and completely traumatized the family and the parent that saw those photos. And so you want to be very mindful of that. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to share some video clips on parents finding out certain things that happened after they posted their kids' information online. So just be careful of that. We're not going to go over all 13 of the entire guide because I do not want to bore you with this. You can get it on the side, but we will talk about at least half of the guide. I wanted to go over those too. Of course, location-based specific photos are really important. Those things you absolutely do not want to share, especially if you're sharing more information like, hey, this is where we go like every Sunday to have ice cream or whatever that is. You don't want to share that. There are so many other things that you're revealing with that. In the video that we're going to be talking about soon, not talking about, watching together soon, there was a cybersecurity expert that was able to pinpoint exactly where their children were, where they went to school, their weekly trips, exactly where they were on the map. So that's something that you want to be super mindful of. And if I have the chance, I'm going to pull up a video that I found on TikTok that is pretty cool. So while a certain video plays, I will pull up this video, and it's by this like security expert, not security expert, but like someone who knows tech. And he was able to track down a mother, exactly her location, just by the video that she posted online. And she posted that video to show her daughter that no matter what you post online, someone can find out where you live in particular. And so you want to be very careful. So even though the video had no like obvious landmarks, it wasn't like she was standing in front of like the Eiffel Tower or I don't know, like some actual like a museum that everyone knows, but he was able to pinpoint exactly what street they were. And so that was very, very scary. And if I can find that video, I will. I didn't plan on sharing it, so that's why Like that's why it's not there. But if I find the video, then I'll absolutely post it. Okay. And so other pictures are any school report card pictures. Another thing, this is the last one that I'll cover for now, is the address label pictures. So I've seen a lot of parents, like when you're unboxing something on the internet, let's just say you got like a new Amazon package, or you're unboxing like a gift that you gave someone or something that you gave your kids, you may not know that your address is going to be on that label. You're focused on like the box and your child's reaction to opening it or whatever it is, and you don't realize that your address is like there, plain and simple, on the package. So be mindful of that. Okay, so there's this clip that I found from Dr. Phil that I wanted to watch with you together so that we can see certain things that you want to be mindful of if you are posting your kids online. So let me share this tab. Let me put this in theater mode and type 1 in the chat if you can hear it.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil Sharenting.
How far will families go for social
What?
media likes?
You can't even see it.
Family pride
We've been posting a video every day for the last 3 years.
or inappropriate parenting.
We can't dictate what another individual is going to find embarrassing.
You post about breastfeeding. You hope your daughter looks back at these posts and is proud of them. But what if she's not?
Oh,
Well, there's a term being called sharenting, which is the practice of parents publicizing sensitive content about their children on internet platforms.
I'm glad that Dr. Phil did a video on this because I feel like it will illustrate the point even further. So that's why I wanted us to watch it together. And then I'll pause it to see if like there's anything else that I want to add to it. But let me know in the chat, type 1 in the chat if you've ever heard the term sharenting.
So, are some parents and family members crossing the line? And how far will families go for social media likes?
Yeah.
Now, proponents of sharenting say it is their right as a parent to post whatever they want about their child.
Do you feel like it's your right to post whatever you want about your child? Do you feel like you have to ask for consent? And my second question to you is, if you have to ask for consent, at what age do you believe as a parent? And if you can hear my fan, just type fan in the chat because my fan is going and it's hot in Texas. But but if you can hear my fan, just type fan in the chat and I'll stop the fan and I'll be hot for y'all. But at what age do you think that parents, as a parent, you should start asking your kids before you share information about them online? I'm like really curious.
Critics, on the other hand, say family members posting sensitive content or oversharing about their children for social media clout is inappropriate, and it's risky for the child's mental health as well as possible future embarrassment. And because you never really know who your audience is, think about that.
That's true.
Well, we're going to talk about all of that today, so let's just get started. We're going to meet a family who has amassed roughly 16 million followers on social media.
I mean, here's the thing. Every time we have this discussion, sometimes people will say, well, it doesn't really matter. I don't have a lot of followers. I'm not an Instagram influencer. I'm not posting my kids like that. It doesn't matter. This particular parent has like millions and millions of followers. Even if you have no follower, this matters to you. Because if you're posting your child online, and I'm still a proponent, it's fine if you want to post them, just post carefully. So this goes for you even if you don't have millions.
341 million views on TikTok by sharing their lives online. You're not a poster at all.
I am barely a poster. I will confess.
That's why I ask you. You do post some.
I do post some. And I will confess that when I first had my son, who's now 11, I was posting a fair amount on Facebook. And part of how I got interested in this topic was trying to figure out what was right for me and my family, which may be different than other people and their families.
Okay, so you did wade in.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. I love your term. Also on stage is Sarah, a mom who uses her social media platform to educate parents about the dangers of public oversharing. And of course, that's the big question, Sarah, is what's the definition of oversharing?
That's true. What is the definition?
What's oversharing and what's not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that can be interpreted differently for different people.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a general.
It has to do with age, and it has, but you never know who's watching.
100%.
This is full time. You're at this. You're busy at this.
Yes, we are.
How many posts have you put up?
We've been posting a video every day for the last 3 years, so I'd imagine.
Damn, that's a lot of videos.
1,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of videos.
You say every so often you do get negative comments that usually come from trolls, and by trolls, there are people that set up accounts. They don't have any followers. They just create an account with a screen name so they can say ugly things.
Absolutely. And honestly, I've learned to like ignore it, but I'm
It
just
can
thinking
affect
for
your
somebody
kids.
that's like not able to ignore it, that can
Yeah.
really affect their mental health.
There are people out there that have no boundaries, no limits to what they will say and what they do. Now, Leah, your concern about people that post up, I think we would agree most parents don't intend to put their children in
Let me
jeopardy. They
change
don't
that.
intend to expose their children
Hi.
in some negative way.
Yeah, it's not
I
to blame
think that would
anybody.
include
It's
probably
not to blame anybody.
99% of parents. But
Absolutely.
your concern is that inadvertently they can be putting their children in jeopardy, exposing information.
And that's
that
why I released
can
that
create a problem.
guide.
That is my concern, that we don't know who our audience will be now or in the future. We don't know how content may be repurposed, remixed, reshared, and used in ways that we can't anticipate as parents. I'm a mom myself. I've got 2 kids. I adore them, and I absolutely agree. I think almost all parents have their kids' best intentions at heart, and I can tell you folks do. So my concern is not with the parental choice up front. My concern is with how that content may travel. I am concerned about the world that we're living in right now.
Yeah, and you think that children's privacy is being invaded,
Yeah,
even if they
sometimes.
don't.
Sometimes.
You know, he says his children don't really have an awareness of what's going on.
If you saw the
But
guide, I gave you
You
some
think that
resources on
also
talking to your
means they
kids.
can't give consent.
Yeah, I don't think children are able to give like informed consent. They don't know what they're getting involved with in regard to posting publicly on social media. You know, you're an adult and you know consent and you know what you're getting involved in regard to the trolls and the potential, you know, consequences and ramifications. And children just aren't aware of what social media is. They like to be filmed and they like to participate in the family activity, but they don't know the long-term ramifications and consequences to all the public oversharing.
I got like a question from one of the parents in my community saying, hey, like I post things online. I have a child that's autistic and I post about raising my child and helping other mothers who have autistic children be able to feel like some sense of belonging in community. And where is the line in that? And I firmly believe, as we're listening to this conversation, like the expert said, that it really depends on your family and especially on how you're approaching security and privacy. So it's not just about you should never post anything about your kids, even though that can be the safest option, I believe, for most people. But if you want to post a cute photo of your kids or you want to share your story with other parents, just be mindful of how that may impact your child as your child gets older. That's what you have to be mindful of. I'm not going to get too deep into it as we're watching this, but I just want us to think about that in terms of if what I'm posting today can impact my child in a negative way tomorrow. Am I posting way too much information where this is like content that could be used against them in school or in college or amongst their friends or whatever? You can share your own struggles as a mom raising a child, whether they're autistic or whether they're not autistic, but you want to be mindful of, is this too much? And as my child gets older, are they okay with that?
Who here thinks that parents have a right to post whatever they want
Type 1
of
if
their
you
own
think
children? It's their
you
child.
should
They can
post
post
whatever you
they want. Who here thinks that's true? Raise your hand
Let's see
really
what
high.
people's in the audience too. Okay,
Now,
not a lot.
Who here
hand.
thinks, nah, wait a minute. The kids
Type 2
young,
if you think,
and I know they may not have a good legal mind yet about their rights, but they should have a vote in all of this. Raise your hand.
It seems like most people
Okay,
feel
most
that. Okay.
of you think they should have a vote in all of this. My question is, you're saying the children, this could be exploitive, it could haunt them later or whatever.
It could.
But
Absolutely.
if this was true, we would never have child actors.
I think
That's
in regard
true.
to child actors,
But
and
they
the
have
comparison
more-
is made a lot between like social
They
media
have more
kids
structure
and
with child
actors.
actors.
But one thing that child actors have that currently social media children do not are rules and regulations.
What do you think about that?
We need better state and federal laws and regulations and enforcement to get at some of those bad actors. But then in terms of making it possible for parents and sometimes grandparents and other adults who are choosing to create a business with their child.
And that's okay to do
entertainment,
that,
we
by the
need
way.
to have some guardrails around that.
You just have to be
as
careful.
well.
So
That's
you
it.
have how many children?
One.
Okay. And you've posted how many videos?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you post about breastfeeding, and you've gone past probably the average
Correct.
breastfeeding by how much?
I feel like in the US, the average is about 1 year old, but
Mhm.
in other countries, you can go up to 7 years old, and that's completely normal. So
Mhm.
I personally have just chosen to go a little bit longer because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm able to.
Uh-huh.
And so I love the bond with my child, and I know that it still gives her a ton of nutrients, so I do it.
Mhm. And you post it, why?
Well, actually, the original time that I posted breastfeeding, I wasn't going to post it. I was joking around, taking a video, breastfeeding my daughter. We were dancing to whatever was popular at that time, and my niece was dancing as well. My sister was like, "Oh, you have to post this. It's hilarious." So I did. Nothing happened. And then about a month later, all of a sudden on TikTok, it just blew up a ton.
Chewy is America's #1 pet pharmacy. We contact your
I'm pausing it because of the commercial, the ad. We'll go back to it now. I know that they're going to get into that whole discussion about breastfeeding and whether or not you should post, you know, that type of content online. So
And I got plenty of
we'll
positive
we'll see
feedback,
what
but
they
also
say,
a
and then
ton of
we'll
negative
talk
feedback.
about that
What
aspect
was
of
the
it.
negative feedback?
I had people going to the extent of telling me to kill myself, actually.
Oh
Telling somebody to kill themselves on the internet is just, there's no
no.
justification for it. Now, you say specifically when it comes to breastfeeding that you hope your daughter looks back at these posts and is proud of them.
Well,
But
that's
what if
the
she's
best case
not?
scenario, but the worst case
Well, then
scenario,
that's
she's
something
not.
that we will have to deal with later.
Yeah.
But I think that breastfeeding really is not normalized. And so you should be able to go out in public and breastfeed if you want. But so many people will look at you in public and think that you're disgusting. But I am just
Unfortunately,
nourishing and
yeah.
feeding my child. It's
Yeah.
not like I'm doing it to be sexual or do anything wrong.
For me, I think it all comes down to the topic of consent. It's one of the most important.
It's a very, very important topic. And before I go to what Shira's saying, there have been cases where parents have posted like breastfeeding photos online or videos online, and they found them on websites that were used for other purposes. So before you post videos like that, just be mindful of, okay, well, how can these videos be used? Even if you're posting, let's just say you're posting like in a mom's group, and it's just like a particular group, it's only the people in your neighborhood, or you're looking for a nanny, or you're looking for a support system. Even in those cases, all of what we're talking about still applies. So don't just look at this again from, oh, she has millions of followers and she's posting breastfeeding photos, or she's posting photos of her kids in diapers or swimwear, or she's posting photos of her kids having meltdowns or whatever. This goes for every one of us, especially if we're posting online. Even if we're posting online in a private capacity, you still have to be mindful, because that can still be used against you, especially if someone gets into your account or you're not truly friends with them online. You're friends with them, but you don't really know them. So anyway, let's go back to consent. Consent is a very big topic. And I put that inside of the free guide that you have.
Things we can teach our children is consent. And the best way to teach them is to model it.
Yes.
And as
What
parents,
she
that
said,
is our
what they said.
responsibility. So
Absolutely.
how can you model consent while at the same time taking it away from them?
That is perfect
You know,
example. Love it.
We've talked to the cyber prosecutors, the cyber investigators.
I love
and
that.
there are hashtags that predators are drawn to.
Correct.
Like hashtag bath time baby.
Yep, that's what I put in the
hashtag
guide.
Kid bikini.
Yep.
But they're drawn to those hashtags, and that's where they go looking
That's what
for
they follow.
content.
Yep.
Plus, there are other things they can do with these images, right?
That's right. There are other ways that individuals, but also companies, can take images that parents post on social media. So we have documentation that images of toddlers back in 2005 posted were used in 2019 or so to train facial recognition software.
Oh,
That's one of
absolutely.
many examples
That
of
will
not
happen.
individual perpetrators and bad actors, but actually companies swooping in and scooping up images and repurposing them. So you're absolutely.
And you've had places where they call it like virtual kidnapping, where predators or people would download photos of you and your family, whether they're private Facebook photos and they're friends with you, or they're in the same mom group on Facebook, or you're like a public platform. They download pictures of your kids and then they post them other places on the internet, and they pretend that it's their family, and they write like crazy stories about you and your kids, and people are following them thinking that is your family, but it's actually not your family. There's also instances where kids' voices were downloaded online from videos posted, and then they will do like a mock, like a fake call to you. So they'll say like, oh, say your child is like 14 years old, and you thought that they're at your friend's house over for like maybe a birthday party or whatever, and they'll download the voice of your child, and based off of what you post about your kids online, they will do a fake phone call to you to say, hey, I have your child. If you don't send money to me, then I'm going to take your child away, or I have them right now and I will keep your child. So all of these things can happen the more you post about your kids. This is, again, not to say that you should never post like one little cute photo here and there, but just be mindful about how much you're posting. Can people figure out your kid's schedule and location and all of that because you posted things online? So what she's saying is very much valid for everybody.
Right. That is a concern as well.
Yeah. What do you want to say?
It's just a lot to think about. I always say that there are certain things that I think should just be a general no-no for parents. And that's definitely like personal identifiable information, like full names and birth dates. And I think some topics should just be off limits. As you mentioned, bath time, potty training is also something
potty training is a huge
that they
one.
look for, swimwear, as you mentioned. I believe there are certain things that maybe generally as parents, we can all just agree on shouldn't be posted publicly online.
Like meltdowns.
Well, we're back talking about sharing our lives on social media, and we've talked about a lot about the negatives today, but do my guests feel there are any positives to sharing
I think there are
information
positives
online?
Let me know what you think in the comments.
Yeah, I want to ask Robin, have you noticed parenting and social media has changed throughout the years?
Yes, it has changed so much. It's grown, all the platforms, so many platforms. And what I can't believe is how young the children are that get on these platforms.
Oh yeah, so young.
Just we were talking about Avery and London, and I can remember when they were just 3 years old, 4 years old, they could get on the platforms. They could show me how to set up a new account. Of course, I said, no, I don't want to do that. But so many out there, and they allow the children on them.
Unfortunately.
Everything has changed. It's grown, and to me, it's very, very dangerous. It's scary.
You know, there's a term that you may have heard called presentism. And that's a term where you go back and find something that happened years in the past and pull it up to the present and judge it by current day standards.
Right.
Things that might have been okay with the social mores and folkways of the time, but not today.
Because I mean, why would you think about not posting certain things?
Measure it by today's standards and judge somebody by that. I worry about that too. How many of you will think about this differently, having focused on it with regard to your kids? Raise your hand. If
I think
would.
a lot, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. It does make you think, right? And it's too bad, but the fact of the matter is, when kids get on the internet, they, on average, encounter a predator within minutes.
Yeah.
A significant percentage of the time.
If you want to like showcase to your kids how dangerous it is when they're creating a social media account, to be mindful of what they post, how they post, especially not putting their age on profile. So a lot of kids these days will post, not these days, they've been doing it forever, right? They will post like, here's my name, here's where I go to school, and then here's like my age. And so those things make it easy to target your child online, to either message them, to be like, hey, I noticed this or I noticed that. And so it's easier for a predator to reach out to your kid when they have all of that information online. So if you want to teach your kids to not do that, I'd recommend looking at, I think it's Discovery Plus and HBO has this show called Undercover Underage. And if I find the thing, I'm going to share it over here, Undercover Underage. And they have a new season. If your child is able to watch it, because sometimes it can be like, it can be a lot to watch. But if you believe that your child is okay and they can watch it and they'll be fine watching it, I suggest watching this show. Let's see. Let me share this tab. Let me make sure that I don't have any information or whatever. Okay. So here is this tab. And you can watch this show with your kids, Undercover Underage. I believe it's HBO Max, yep, and it's also on Discovery Plus. And I think you can watch it on Amazon. Yeah, Prime channels, okay? This can really help your child understand the dangers of posting on the internet, but also helps you understand certain things when you're posting as an adult. This can be a little bit more, it's very disturbing in terms of what happens or the stories that are uncovered in this show. So please watch the show before you watch it with your teens first. Reason being is because you are the expert in your child. You know if your teen is like ready for this type of content. But if you believe that they are after you watch like episode 1 or 2, there are so many families that got together and did this like every other week or once a month. They would watch the show together. They would have discussions about it. So if you're allowing your kids on social media or you're posting about your kids, you're being mindful, or they're being mindful also about all of the risk that comes with it. And as we're having these discussions with kids, I also want to encourage you to have like positive discussions about what social media means and what social media can do in your child's life if they want to be on social media. So don't have like every single conversation be about the bad about social media or what you shouldn't do or the doom and the gloom. Because if you want to connect with your kids and you want to protect them, like one of the audience members said, I think her name was Shira, they said that number one, you want to model for your kids what you want them to do. So if you want them to post with consent online, whether it's themselves or their friends, and they're getting consent from them, then you have to ask your kids before you post about them online, especially as they get older. When they're younger, like I said in the guide, you can't ask your like 2-year-old, hey, can I post you online? I mean, maybe you can get in the habit of it, but they're not going to really understand what's going on. So at least have that discussion of like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm posting. It's going here. Just so that you're used to having those discussions with them and you're making the best informed decision with your child before you post them online. And then as they get older, where they have more like ability to get and understand, oh, I'm posting it on Instagram, I'm posting it on Facebook, then you can ask for consent in those instances. I know that you can ask for consent with your 2-year-old. But I wanted to share that video with Dr. Phil. If you want to watch it for yourself or you want to share it with a friend or family member because you think they need to see this video, then here is the video that we just watched with Dr. Phil and all of the other experts explaining how you have to be careful about what you share about your kids online. There was a video that I saw from the Today Show about why you should rethink what you share online, and we can go into that as well. But I want to know your thoughts on what we just watched with Dr. Phil. Do you feel like we need to, do you feel like there's a particular age that you should be talking to your kids about consent? And do you believe that this needs to be a bigger discussion? Let me know in the chat. Say yes or no while I find this video. Oh, and there was a video that I want you to share with your kids. If your child really wants to join social media and you're trying to get them to understand why they have to be careful about what they post, because it's not just about you, it's also about your kids. So all of us collectively have to be super careful about what you post about your kids online. Let me see. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So I found this TikTok video that I wanted to share with you. Hopefully we can see this. And okay, good. I think you can see this. Okay, perfect. Let me share my screen because I believe this is super, super, super important to see. So present, share screen. Okay, this is a mom. Type 1 in the chat if you can see what's happening here.
Tell me where I am, Jose Monkey.
You asked me to figure out where this video was recorded, so I did. Hi, I'm Jose Monkey, and I find people who ask to be found. Many of you have heard me say before that one of the reasons I do these videos is to help raise awareness about some of the risks of posting things online. This video was sent to me by a mom who was hoping that I could help demonstrate those risks to her kid.
I have a 10-year-old who doesn't understand the risks behind social media, so I just wanted to show her something. So tell me where I am, Jose Monkey.
Okay, I hope your 10-year-old is watching. So what can we see? This video was recorded in selfie mode, so the first thing I did was flip it horizontally. One of the first things I noticed is that there's a CVS directly behind Mom at the beginning of the video. And behind the CVS, we can see a water tower. As Mom turns the camera, we can see that there's a parking lot here and also a building that looks like an apartment or hotel. After that, we briefly catch a glimpse of some other people in the background and a small garage or shed here. and we can see just a glimpse of something blue, which might be a dumpster. Mom turns the camera back in the other direction, and we can see that there's a Wendy's here. I also made note of the sun and shadows to help figure out directions. We can see that the sun appears to be setting in the direction of the motel or apartments, so that's probably west. And when Mom turns around and is facing the sun, her shadow is pointing in the direction that is likely east.
Please listen.
Based on that information, I tried to sketch a map of what this place would look like from above, so I'd have a better shot at recognizing it on the map. We've got a compass that tells me which way is north. Mom is standing about here. We've got all the buildings here, including the Wendy's and the CVS. I also made a note of the fact that the road that we see here appears to run kind of northwest to southeast. Okay, so that's probably what it looked like, but where the heck was it? Based on the fact that everybody in the video is wearing shorts and flip-flops, it seems like it's someplace warm. And I'm not great at recognizing accents, but I was pretty sure that this was probably someplace in the southeast based on Mom's accent. So how was I going to find this place? I recently told you guys about how I've been learning about doing data mining against the OpenStreetMap geographic database. It's like searching for things on Google Maps, but instead of doing it manually, you write code to do it. I figured I could use an approach much like I used in episode 186 recently. In that episode, I was searching for Rite Aid locations that were very close to Family Dollar locations. I could apply the same idea here, looking for CVS locations that were close to Wendy's. But I figured I could do better than that, because I could also search for the water tower that we see. I figured if I could find CVS locations, then filter that list to ones that were close to water towers, say 500 meters. Then I could filter that further to only the locations that were also close to Wendy's locations, say 250 or 300 meters. With that approach in mind, I sat down and wrote the queries that I needed. This is the part where I should insert like a Hollywood-style hacking sequence.
Crazy.
I'm in. Okay, so without any good leads to tell me what state this was, I just searched the entire Southeast. I played around with the proximity values until I got a list of candidate locations. There were 24 of them. I figured I'd just look at each one and compare it to my crude map and see if any of them matched. I had only looked at a few locations when I saw this one. We had a Wendy's and a CVS in the right relative positions. The road ran kind of northwest to southeast, and the shape of the other building here looked like it was right. But where was the water tower? I had to zoom out a bit to find it, but it was exactly where I expected to find it, a bit north and west of CVS. Time to check the Google Street View, and guys, that was it.
That was it.
You're standing on the grass near the parking lot of the Jameson Inn in Winder, Georgia. Google Street View confirmed all the landmarks. We had the CVS and the water tower. We had the building, which was a hotel, and the garage. And we could even see that dumpster that we could just barely see in your video. We can see the Wendy's that we see in your video. And based on the clues, I was able to figure out that Mom was probably standing right about here on the grass at the edge of the parking lot. Guys, my goal is not to scare anyone, but I do hope
that is scary,
these videos help you to understand some of the risks of posting things online. Please use really good judgment when you post photos and videos. And kids, listen to your parents. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and share it with other parents who might want to show it to their kids. Go to my site if you want to check out the map of all the places I've found for people so far from the videos that they've tagged me in. And if anybody else would like me to figure out where one of their videos was recorded, record a video where you say, "Find me, Jose Monkey," or something like that on camera, or hold up a sign that says something similar.
So I'm going to share the video that we just watched here in the chat so that if you want to watch it with your kids, then you can watch this with your kids to show your kids or a friend about the dangers of posting online without being safe about it and being cognizant. So in this video, we saw that he was able to track down exactly where the mother was using just the way the sun was setting, the street, where the Wendy's was, like the complex behind her. So the entire video he was able to track down just by that. We didn't even go into being able to go into your Facebook account to know, oh, who is your uncle? Who are you married to or were married to? Who's your partner? All of the information that we post online that can be gathered together, and they can reach out to your child, or they can reach out to you very convincingly to get information from you or information from your child, or convince your child to talk to them or meet with them. And this has happened so many times. Flow with Joe podcast says, thank you for helping us keep our children safe. It is my absolute pleasure always. This work can feel really, really scary. Actually, is very, very scary. And there are moments where I have like sessions where I have to take a minute because things are very, very difficult. However, overall, like I really, really love having these discussions because it means that more children are protected. So you can see how quickly someone was able to find anybody. And so this is not just for you, but also for me, for all of us. So if you're you're always at a particular location, you don't want to take a video there. You don't want to take a video that's like directly outside of your house and you're always there and you're like, I'm outside of my house right now. There have been so many people, whether they're celebrities, whether they're big influencers or regular people like you and I. And well, I guess technically speaking, I'm not exactly regular since I'm an influencer, but they're just regular people posting photos online. It's not like they have thousands or millions of followers and people are able to track down you and your kids. So that is why I talked about the location-based pictures. Where is the thing that oh my God, the screen's gone. But anyways, if you have the free guide, you know that I said one of the points I said to not post is location-based photos. That goes into location-based photos. Even though there was an Eiffel Tower behind him, that still constitutes as location-based. So share that TikTok with your friends, with your family member, but also if you have teens that want to post online or you think they're posting online, or even if you don't think they're posting online, please still share the video. The reason being is because you don't know what Fence does, some fake profile Instagrams or TikToks or whatever that they have online, even if you think they don't have Instagram. All right, so there is a video of kids confronting their parents about sharing the pictures of them online, and I thought that would be really cool for us to watch together. And if you have any thoughts as we're going through this, like just let me know. Okay, let's share this tab.
I'm Lucy. I'm 7 years
And let me know if you can see what I'm seeing.
old, and my mom posted pictures of me online.
She's this is Lucy. She's so cute.
I'm Lucy. I'm 7 years old, and my mom posted pictures of me online.
Hi, Lucy.
I'm Elmer. I'm 18 years old. My mom shares too much about me online.
I'm Zoya. I'm 16 years old, and my mom shares my whole life.
If you're going to be so worked up about it, then I'll take it down. But I don't agree with you, just for the record.
That's fine. You don't have to agree.
Why are we here today?
Talk about the photos.
¿En Facebook?
Yes.
¿Por qué?
¿Por
Let me show you a few.
Let's talk about it.
What's the big deal? I think you look so cute and it was a nice moment. What's wrong with it?
Because you didn't ask.
I also think of it as connecting to other people.
That's true.
That I know in real life.
Yeah.
You know, like just think like Abu and Grandpa, like how else do they know about you guys except to see you there?
That's true.
You can call and FaceTime.
That's true.
You can do many other stuff to see them instead of social media.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
a
true.
really good
Yeah.
point.
By age 5, the average kid has 1,500 photos.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of photos. Hold on. That's a lot of photos of kids. Flo Joe says, "Lo, my daughter confronted me when she was 6. I asked for consent now, and I don't debate her if it's a no." And that is really beautiful because what Flo with Joe is saying here is that I respect you. I respect your consent, and you're modeling for your child what they should do with other people. And so if someone does not ask for their consent, they're like, wait, but my mom asked for the consent, so you should too. And also they're going to be practicing good security and safety. So kudos to you, Joe. I really appreciate that you do that.
Technically, yes.
I didn't get that. Let me go back.
Technically, yes.
No lo puedes cambiar. O sea, ustedes son mi orgullo. No pueden cambiar nada.
It's a photo where I'm shirtless.
Oh, well,
I'm
yeah.
not ready for a photo.
Yeah.
Yo pienso que todos los papás hacemos eso. Yo la subo. Yo no veo nada malo. Tú tienes ropa abajo. Está todo privado y solo mis amistades y mi familia pueden ver todo.
All it takes is one person and one hack, and there goes all your privacy.
That's true. Someone can screenshot
I
it.
was getting my debit card.
No, pero no puse los números de tu.
No, I know you didn't, but it was like.
She's like, for the record.
Número, como el address.
No, ahí no está el address.
Yeah,
no, sí, pero.
Como papeles que dicen mi nombre completo, tú sabes, cosas que son privados.
Posiblemente sí, eso sí.
Oh, bless her. That's so nice. Oh, thank you.
parents sharing about their kids online will account to 2/3 of identity
That is
fraud.
true. Yes, that's crazy. Yes, yes. That's a really big statistic, and I believe that's Barclays. Yeah. You have to be mindful of that as well. So what you post about your kids can be used to steal their identity, and that's a major one. Also, you want to protect your kids' identity because it's easy to be stolen and used because you're most likely not going to know what's happening with your kids' identity until they try to get their first credit card or something like that. So yeah, the stats are absolutely mind-blowing. Joe says, thinks our babies are human too. Exactly. Treat others how we want to be treated is my motto, and I agree. I appreciate you. You're very appreciated.
What is everybody so worried about?
I know
the
her.
sauce on the
I
face
see her
photo.
before.
Like, what is it going to do? That is like wrecking everybody's
says
life
wrecking
in their imagination.
I think the sauce on the face photo.
What is that? The soft.
That's just an embarrassing photo.
Yeah, she doesn't
but,
want that.
You know, the photo of me in a bathing suit.
Yeah.
Someone out there could look at my body
And they do.
think something of me that I wouldn't want them to think.
Yeah.
But you go on the beach in those clothes.
That's fine. That's
and
what she wants to
strangers
do.
could take photos of you on the beach and do what they want with those photos.
That is
You're
true.
my parent. You're my mom.
But she's you're her safe space.
I would think about
Yeah.
that, yeah.
You would. So now you would say that you would consider.
I would, maybe.
No.
Unless we stop taking vacations.
No,
together and
no,
stop having good
that's
times.
just
It would
dramatic.
actually, honestly, would be depressing.
It would be
if I couldn't
depressing.
document it for Insta. If it's
No,
there
you'd be
on Insta,
documented
it
for
wouldn't
yourself,
happen.
but you don't have to post it on Insta.
You really feel that way?
Yeah, because yeah. So do you think kids should have veto power, the ability to say, please take that down? You have to.
I absolutely think that kids
You should have a
veto
conversation
power.
at
And again,
least.
it's because of how aware I am of the implications of the digital footprint that I say that. Some facts.
Oh, she said
In France, kids can sue their parents
that. Yes,
for sharing too much about them.
that is true.
I mean, what should I say? They just don't know what they're doing, France.
France is onto something. I mean, you know, I don't know if we need to do exactly the same thing, but we
If
want
I
to look at
asked you
it.
about that picture, would you be okay if I posted it?
Yes.
Oh,
really?
that's
So
sweet.
it's actually about the asking, not about the
Yes,
picture itself.
yes, yeah.
Posting any private information or anything online should be my call.
Exactly.
I really try to limit the amount of things I aggravate you with.
No.
And if a photo or an upload is causing so much aggravation, is it worth it?
No, probably not.
So I understand.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob. We appreciate you. It's more about, like they said in the video, it's sometimes less about exactly what you're posting, but the fact that you're asking before you post, you're asking before you share a story. So let's just say there's a mother who posted on one of my Instagram. She said that she posts like stories about her parenting to help other parents. You can post those things to help other parents because it's your journey and you're going through the parenting, not your child. But also because you're sharing information about your child, you just want to be mindful as you're sharing all of these stories about them. Because these stories, I mean, imagine you grow up and you're like now you're within a couple of years is your first time job. And all of these people know all of the most embarrassing moments of your childhood, all of the things that happened, all of the crazy things that you did in your teenage years. You don't really want everyone knowing every part of who you are as a person. There have been many people in job interviews who are like, you know what? I don't really want to have you in this position because we know that there are people who follow you, people know information about you. There have been cases where a woman had a job. She was like in her late 20s and her mother was posting about her. And she lost a job because she had a stalker that came from her childhood, from her mom blogging or whatever. And that stalker was stalking her all the way through her job and harassing all of her employees and all of her coworkers. And so she lost a job because of that. So there's so much we can say about this topic. I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know if you want to see one more video about this. There was a video called, what is it? what is it? Oh, parents facing backlash from their own children on posting their kids on social media. If you want to see that video with me, let me know. Just say yes. If not, that's fine. We'll end it here because it's almost at an hour, and I try to keep these as short as humanly possible. If you are here for the first time and you want more information on protecting your kids online, then hit the subscribe button to this channel. All I do is talk about protecting your kids online. Every Tuesday around like 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I go live. I call this like the Protecting Kids Online live stream. We talk about all of the topics, anything that we need to talk about to protect your kids online. So if there's like a particular topic that you want me to talk about, please let me know. Put it in the comments, message me, email me, whatever you want to do. And if for whatever reason you feel like, oh, I need more information on protecting my kids online, I'm very overwhelmed. This entire 45 minutes we've been talking is too overwhelming. I need support. Go to protectyourchildonline.com. That is where I have a community. We have monthly calls. Every single parent that joins, I have a call with you. The call is supposed to be 15 minutes, but to be honest, many times they go to 20 to 30 minutes. And there have been multiple calls where we all were crying on the call. Okay. Not to say that you're going to cry. If you don't want to cry, you don't have to cry, but we go really deep in this stuff. So if you ever need support, please do not feel like all of what we discussed today is getting at you, right? Like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. You're a bad parent if you do this, or you should be shameful if you do that. That's not my vibe over here. Yes, my YouTube thumbnails are like, yeah, I do. I have dramatic YouTube thumbnails. But when you get into the video, it's all about us coming together to have a discussion, to educate ourselves, to uplift ourselves, to make sure that you're building beautiful relationship with your children so that you can ultimately protect them online. Not just protect them online, but to protect their hearts, protect their souls, protect their minds. So this is very, very important to me. This is something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. So if you're clicking on any of these videos, it's never to shame you. So if you're posting pictures of your kids online and you feel bad, feeling bad is not loving to you, and it's not going to be loving to your kids. And it's okay if you feel bad. It's a normal human emotion. It's totally fine, but don't go deep into that. Don't go into a spiral of shame and feeling like you're not good enough as a parent. So my community, Protect Kids Online movement, you can find more about it, protectyourchildonline.com. And I posted the link to the community in the description below of this video as well. It's for empowering you. It's for giving you the resources, keeping you up to date. Remember, you do not have to be perfect to protect your kids online. You don't have to be tech savvy to protect your kids online. You do not need to know more than your kids to protect your kids online. The fact that you're here, the fact that you're trying, the fact that you're trying to be better is all that matters. Your child does not need a perfect person. They just need a loving, caring parent that wants to connect with them. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. And so AS says, for me, it's a big no, because I'm an introvert. I can share privately, but not even my DP has a picture of my children. And that is totally okay. Your closest family, your closest friends, your partners, whatever, they don't have to have pictures of your kids. Like one of the kids so expertly said, you can do FaceTime, you can do Zoom. You don't have to post things online. And that's totally good. If you want to post online because you want to post, you have family and friends all over the world, you want to catch up, you want to post it on WhatsApp or whatever, it's fine. If you want to post it like on Signal, on WhatsApp. If you're unfamiliar, Signal is a great secure messaging tool. You can get all of your friends and family on that as well. If you have a Facebook account and you know for sure it's just your family, it's just your friends, that's fine. You can post that. But if you're posting on your Facebook page and it could be a little bit of like a photo where you're like, I don't really want it to go out to the public, please be sure that only your friends and family are on your Facebook page and not just anybody on your Facebook page. Because yes, it can be private. But if you have 25 friends that are not really your friends, you don't really know them, then it's not really private. Again, this goes for parenting groups as well on Facebook, anything like that. Just be mindful. Joe says, yep, she told me I can't talk about her in my podcast either. There it is. She said, boundaries. Lil, it's hard to keep up with that in mind. Yeah, it is. But I'm mindful now about even mentioning my daughter in my shows. And it's really helpful. I remember growing up and people used to clown my mother for doing this. They were like, why do you do that? But I remember as a kid, I so appreciated this. So my mom, she was, a lot of people knew her in the community. She wrote a lot of books. She was doing a lot of things. And before she ever shared a story of me with other people in public, she always said, hey, Fareedah, can I share this story? And I'm like, what story? And she's like, the story where you told me about that particular thing you're thinking about. And sometimes I was like, no, actually, I don't feel like sharing that. I don't want anyone to know that. And she's like, okay, that's totally fine. So anyways, a different example of what I'm trying to say. And she would give a different example. Many times, to be honest, I would just say, yeah, who cares? I don't care. Just tell the story. But I'm telling you, every single time she turned to me and said, do you mind if I share the story? I'm saying, when I said yes, I just felt so good. I felt so safe with my parent because I knew that if I asked them of something, she would respect my wishes. And I knew that I could tell her anything in the world and that was safe with her. Unless I told her in particular that I was okay with that being shared. So she's a public figure and she would share stories about her life and whatever, but she would just make sure that any story she shared with the public about me was always with my consent. The only thing I know particularly for sure, and I might have to check in with her, that she did not do. Let's just say as a parent, you need advice. Like, let's say I was like in my teenage years and I was driving her up the freaking wall and she was like talking to her best friend and she needed advice. She doesn't need to ask me like, hey, Fareedah, can I tell my friend about how you're driving me absolutely crazy and I don't know what to do? That's completely different. That's a friend conversation. If you're talking to your therapist, if you're talking to your partner, if you're talking to your spouse or whatever, like that's totally fine. And it's my pleasure, Joe. I'm so happy that it's helpful. That's totally fine. That's you as a human being needing advice, needing support, needing belonging. The only time you want to be mindful about what you're sharing is if it's a group of friends, if it's a group of family members, and you know that a story is going to go out somewhere else. If you're going online, if you're doing a Facebook group, you just want to be mindful about posting. You don't want to post stories that can that they don't want, because ultimately you always want to have a safe space for your child to talk to you. And if they feel like anything that I tell mom, anything that I tell dad, if I tell them that, that's going to be told to their friend, that's going to be told to whatever, that's going to be told to a Facebook group, they're not going to open up to you. And the worst thing that you could ever do for your child in terms of protecting them online, and honestly in general, but I don't talk about in general, I just stick to the online world, is to have a space where they do not feel comfortable talking to you. They do not feel comfortable telling you things that are happening in their life. It's okay if every once in a while they do not want to, so have you agree that they do not want to talk to you about something. It's fine. There are going to be moments in school, something happens, someone bullies them in school or whatever, and they don't want to talk to you about it because they may feel like you're going to have a reaction, which, by the way, any conversation you have with your kids, especially if you want them to talk to you, you have to follow the 3C rule. The 3C rule is cool, calm, and collected, no matter what they say. I know it's very difficult. I know it's like you're on the edge of the seat. You're like, oh my God, no, I have to react. It's fine. Just deep breath. Please don't react as much as possible. And if you do react, it's okay. Just come back and say, hey, sorry, I made a mistake. Because look, you're modeling for them. I'm a human being. I have reactions. I have feelings. I have thoughts. I have opinions. And I'm trying to raise you. And I love you very, very much. And I'm trying to do what's best for you. So that's fine if you have a reaction. Just come back and say, hey, I'm sorry. I had a reaction. This is what was going on in my mind. Thank you for whatever you want to do, however you want to apologize, but do apologize. Because being able for someone, and just think about you as a person, being able to talk to someone and to feel like you're being listened to, and no other person is going to get that information except other people, except if they need advice or whatever, that feels freeing. That feels amazing. The most protected kids online are the kids that have an open, honest, safe relationship with their parent. And they are not the kids that are most educated. They are not the kids that are most, and of course, there are a lot of statistics about the more education a child has, or the lack of abuse in a household helps with being safe online. So I'm not deterring from that fact, but I'm saying that being able to have open, honest conversations with you is most important. You don't have to be close. You don't have to be best friends. You don't have to be buddies, but they at least should know that if anything were to happen, I can talk with my parent. And it is my absolute pleasure for these resources. If you did not get the guide, I'm going to put the guide one more time in the chat. It's the free resource library that I have, where I have all of my free guides. So any guide I've ever done in the history of whatever is all in this guide. The guide of 13 pictures to never post of your kids online. If you missed the first couple of tips we did, you can go back to the beginning of this video. That full list is in that guide. And then I made guides on the apps that you do not want to download, like parental control apps you want to be careful of. That's something that's very big. And then I have guides on the safer games for your kids. There's a lot of different things. But if you in particular need to talk to me, you want resources, you want help, you want step-by-step, then go to protectyourchildonline.com. I appreciate you so much. Make sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. And if you have a friend, if you have a family member that you know would appreciate this content that has kids online, they're like playing Roblox, they're playing Minecraft, they're on some like whatever game online, they're on TikTok or Instagram, and you know this content would be helpful to them, share this live video with them or share my YouTube channel and watch some of the videos, especially if you have kids on social media and gaming sites. I have a lot of videos on this channel. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. And until the next live stream, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Protecting Your Kids Online. Bye.